What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you on Lucid. I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been coming out from the company itself, and given the circumstances, where I see things going from here. Before I get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate it. And with that said, let's get right to it. So currently Lucid is down 0.40%. So it is recovering very nicely heading into power hour. $3.62 is the low for today, and that is a new 52-week and all-time low for Lucid in general. But 20.19 million shares being traded, 29 is the average. So a little bit low for that, but then again, today is Friday, so that's kind of normal. As of today, there was no SEC filings, no press releases, nothing like that. So it is just piggybacking off of the broader market. But yesterday, this news did come out. So Lucid did introduce the Range Exchange, which is a innovative new feature enabling the Lucid Air to directly charge other electric vehicles. And this, once again, is a very good showcasing of Lucid's technology, their innovation, and blah blah blah, many things like that. This is clearly what Lucid is all about, is just showcasing their technology. And if I remember correctly, during Lucid's YouTube video on their Wonderbox, they kind of talked on this being their plan, and Lucid Air's eventually having the opportunity to do this very thing. So once again, I think that's a kind of a good thing, but still, no matter what, is this a reason to go out and buy Lucid? Not really. So once again, good thing, bad thing, kind of stuck in the middle. As well, Lucid is putting out a lot of PR associated to the Gravity. So I do believe it's Thursday, if I remember correctly, on the 16th, that Lucid is going to be unveiling the Gravity. And at that stage, we'll be able to find out the price point. And like I've indicated, if it is around 80,000 or less, I feel like the market is really going to take that positively. If it is vice versa, maybe like 120 or higher, then the market is just going to crap all over Lucid. And that's the last thing that we need at this stage in the game, especially after their Q3 earnings. So once again, we just have to sit tight one more week or just less than that to find out exactly whether this is going to be a big success or a flop. And if you think about it, I kind of said this during the Q3 earnings, but the Gravity, let's say that this is a flop, for instance. Just saying, like, what if it's 150, for instance? Nobody's really going to buy that. Obviously, there's a small handful, but nobody's really in the market to buy a $150,000 SUV. So once again, outside of the Gravity, the next big catalyst is that mid-size SUV that's coming out. I think it's around 2026, 2027, something like that. So the Gravity has a huge, immense amount of pressure on it for them to succeed, because like I said, if the Gravity doesn't, then it's going to be a while for the next catalyst, because the PR unfortunately didn't really do what I was anticipating for it to do, because I would have figured based on the price point it'd be a lot more successful. But then again, I guess I was wrong about that. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid and the Gravity. What is your viewpoint on the pricing? So during the Q3 earnings, they didn't really elaborate or give any Easter eggs on the price point, but I feel like if it is 80,000 or less, it is going to be a fairly big success. But that's just my own opinion. Over and above that though, as a result of their Q3 earnings, a lot of people are talking on Lucid filing bankruptcy. So this article came out saying that ultimately Lucid's probability of bankruptcy is around 15%. And I just wanted to talk on this. In my opinion, I do feel that it is actually zero. And my reasoning for that is that essentially any future dilution or whatever capital that they do need, they're just going to rely on the PIF. I said this during the Q3 earnings as well, that Lucid, they do not realize how fortunate they are to have big brothers, so the PIF behind them. If they didn't, Lucid almost guaranteed would be at $1 right now, maybe even less, potentially. So as it stands, the PIF, if it does get low enough, so let's say for argument's sake, Lucid keeps burning through a lot of cash, keep needing capital, so they lean on the PIF. Well, at one stage or another, the PIF is going to say, well, you know what? I am actually going to take you private. Even though there's been a lot of rumors, it logically makes sense right now. If I'm just going to be giving you so much money and you're not really doing what I feel is justified or profitable, then why don't I just take it private and just manage it myself and ideally get rid of Peter? I think that's probably the next step. So I do feel that, on a side note, Peter's probably going to be the next one axed versus another big, broad VP change out, because that would be the fourth now in almost 2 years. So Peter might be the next one out. But beside the point though, I do feel that the probability of bankruptcy would be zero because the PIF would essentially take them private. But that's just me. obviously saying that out loud, because when it comes down to Peter, he has shown absolutely no commitment to the company itself. If anything, he just rambles and blubbers his way through every single earnings, whereas other companies have amazing CEOs such as SoFi. So Anthony Noto, I've brought him up in the past, and when it comes down to commitment, like, he puts his damn money where his mouth is. So this is the latest Form 4 that did come out. It was actually from yesterday. And during this downtrend, he is buying SoFi. Whereas with Peter, he's one of the most heavily paid CEOs out there, but he cannot be bothered to put $1 of his own personal money towards the own stock. He does not show any commitment whatsoever. So in my head, like, Peter is probably the disease that Lucid does need to get rid of at this stage and bring in someone new. Obviously Michael Bell or even Faisal Sultan, like a lot of good potential CEOs just within the company itself, or even look outside of that. But again, that's just me ranting about Peter because I wasn't really happy with a lot of his answers. Especially his answer about why is the stock price going down. Like, he's a complete idiot. But once again, not here to rant about him. I want to go over some other additional data points, starting off with options activity. So given today there was a new 52-week and all-time low, there was around $1.1 million in puts being purchased versus 337 in calls. So despite the discounted price, essentially, people are still anticipating for Lucid to continue to trend down. And looking right here, this shows all the call options based on the volume, and there is a little bit more of a positive thought that is going to get back to the $4 range by the end of next week. But looking at the open interest overall, kind of says the same thing. So between the 4 to 450, and looking at the puts, it is anticipated to be sub around 350. So a little bit more opposite extremes. And when it comes down to the technicals, it is mirroring this exact options. But no matter what though, when it comes to options, it is just merely a sentiment. It does not move the stock price. Looking at shorts though, I'll give you a quick overview of what they have been doing. So technically shorts are increasing about 980,000 shares, 27.87% of the free float is being shorted, 246.95 million shares overall are being shorted, and looks like cost to borrow average is around 44.32%. So that is starting to go up a little bit through the interactive broker short availability. Does indicate that there's around 2.2 million shares overall are being shorted. And looking at the latest round of 13Fs, so you do see some increasing their position, you see some reducing it by like 30%. So I think at this stage in the game, you really want to watch what the big players are doing, such as BlackRock and Vanguard, and most likely it'll be out after hours today, if not very early next week. So I think that'll be a very good thing in my opinion. But let's talk on the technicals for a second. So right now with it at $3.75, which like I said has been recovering fairly nicely, and that is because it did bounce off of this S3, so $3.59. So I've been saying for a very long time now that it was going to probably be heading to about 350, and I kind of been saying that since around 550-ish. So when it comes down to Lucid, that's kind of been the writing on the wall, but as it stands, it's kind of bouncing off of this S3. So $3.93 is going to be the next strong resistance, and 359 is, as it stands, the next strong support. So most likely it will continue to trade within that range up until this does come out, so the gravity. And once again, depending on the price point, then that's going to dictate whether this is a success or not. But that's just my own opinion, of course. Looking at the two indicators I like to look at, so momentum shows number of retail investors are getting out, and stochastic is at 17, so it is considered a little bit more oversold, but a bearish sentiment because red line is above the black. So let me know your thoughts overall on Lucid. Give yourself a shout out. Have you been buying, selling, holding? What have you been doing with Lucid? I did buy in, went against my better judgment, and I bought a small amount. I think it was around 100 shares at $3.90, but the next time I'm going to be adding, if it is or does break below that 359, then that's probably where I'll be adding in my opinion. But still, it'll come back down onto the gravity, whether Lucid trends up higher or lower. So what's your viewpoint? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And one final thing I just wanted to share with you, even though Lucid goes up, down, sideways, all over the place, take advantage of this promo. So sign up for an account, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000, plus you get 1 free share of 𝗖𝗎. So for $100, you get 6 stocks, plus any cash that you do have in this account, you are earning 5.1% APY. So this is one of the best deals on the market, only up until November the 20th. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, I appreciate all of you watching.